Hello there, I am Shaun McLaren, and today I am playing Blue-White Control in Modern. Found this list from user Benny Hills on Magic Online, and I'm gonna give it a try today, see how it goes. Alright then. So yeah, Blue-White Control. Very interesting. Jeskai is a deck I am known for, but yeah, the Bolt is not that great against like Death Shadow specifically, and the Delve creatures. So going straight blue white and having a great mana base right now when Path to Exile is so good makes a lot of sense to me. Um, and the deck looks pretty solid. Like I like the numbers. It feels good on my brain. The numbers. Let's go over them. First is Spreading Seas, which is just like a really good card in Modern right now. Not only are is Eldrazi a huge deck right now, but it's also quite good against Death Shadow decks because they often operate on very few lands and you can mana screw them pretty easily. And just a great card on turn 2, can cantrip, and then you have Tectonic Edges and Ghost Quarters to sort of continue the land disruption plan. Also have Mana Leaks, which is a card I'm a fan of. It counters spells, which is pretty good. Super efficient. Great card. Wall of Omens is more cantripping stuff. Can be very good in some matchups, and barely do anything in a lot of matchups. Although it will often absorb some damage in pretty much like against Eldrazi or Grixis Death Shadow, it'll often absorb some damage, although not usually for many turns because their creatures are so large. Snapcaster Mage, just 2 of them. That seems fine. Like, you have plenty of stuff to flash back, but not like a whole ton because you have so many Spreading Seas and Wall of Omens, so don't want to overload on too many Snapcaster Mages. 1 Negate, 1 Think Twice. Negate can sometimes be amazing. Have some variation between the Mana Leaks and the Negates, and then 1 Think Twice. You don't want your hand clogged with Think Twices, so 1 makes some sense. Certain Visions is just really good card selection, very great on turn any turn really, and good with Snapcaster Mage. Path to Exile, some of the best removal in the format. Better than Bolt right now, I think. Colonnade is great, sort of the backup win condition if you're not winning with one of your Gideons. Good mana base. Get to play really powerful dual lands and a whole bunch of basics as well, and then some utility lands. Even a Temple of Enlightenment, which seems alright. I mean, you can afford to play it in this deck since you don't have that many tap lands, just like the Colonnades really, and then sometimes your Glacial Fortresses, but not often. Also an Irrigated Farmland, which you can search up with Flooded Strand or just cycle if you have tons of lands. Detention Sphere is pretty good catch-all removal, can get like Death Shadows or Chalices, Planeswalkers that are otherwise pretty difficult to deal with or resolve Planeswalker for this deck. So Gideon of the Trials is the big new card that you don't see that often. You don't see that often in Standard, let alone Modern. The can't lose clause is probably a bit more relevant in Modern. Like sometimes against, say, ad nauseum, they only run one condition, win condition, and embleming just wins you the game. I mean, sometimes, say against like Lantern, if they don't run like a way to kill it, I mean, most decks are going to be running like an Abrupt Decay or a Pirate Spellbomb if they're Lantern, but not always. Like, you can just steal some games by emblementing Gideon, and X is a 4/4 beater, or just buys you time by preventing the damage from creatures. So I guess we'll see how well it does. I mean, not really a card you usually see, so it'll be interesting to see how that does. Jace is also a card you don't regularly see in Modern. It is a 2/of as well. Great card draw. I love Jace. Big fan of Jace, Architect of Thought. I mean, the -2 is just incredible. The +1 is pretty good too, and has a huge loyalty. This Jace can stop swarms of creatures. Mostly just draws you cards and buys you time, but that's perfect for this deck. And then of course Supreme Verdict, which is amazing, kills everything, no questions asked. Also have Cryptic Command, 2/of. That might be one thing I would want from this deck, is more Cryptic Commands. Big fan of Cryptic Command. Just buys you time, counters things, bounces problem permanents. Yeah, that's probably a change I would make to the deck, is adding more Cryptic Commands if I were to randomly make a change. Another Gideon works with the this Gideon emblem. You're just Gideon emblem. This small wimpy Gideon dies, and you upgrade to maximum beefcake Gideon, and then you just can't ever lose. That's the plan. Sphinx's Revelation, 1/of, seems alright. Again, you don't want to overload on too many Sphinx's Revelations in the early game, but really powerful in the mid to late game, and good with Snapcaster Mage too. If you fire it off for like 2 or 3, and then later in the game you can fire it off for way more. Sideboard, standard negates, great in control or combo matchups. Stony Silence, Rest in Peace are some of the most powerful hate cards in the format, and this deck isn't really hurt by your own Stony Silences at all, and barely Rest in Peace hurts you like Snapcaster Mage and Think Twice. So you can afford to play the most powerful hate cards. Dispel, again for control and combo, making sure that you resolve your spells, they don't resolve theirs. Grafdigger's Cage, I guess a hedge against sort of graveyard hate and Chord Collected Company decks, since it's really good against those. Condemn, just a bit more cheap removal. Timely Reinforcements is great against Burn, and if any matchups you need 3 dudes to buy you time. Geist, the nuts, the absolute nuts against the Control Mirror, and pretty fast clock against combo too if you can afford to tap out. Clique, just a very versatile card that's good in a lot of matchups that you can just bring in if you need another card. Elspeth is sort of another win condition slash wrath effect, and of course Supreme Verdict, because Supreme Verdict is just the nuts in some matchups. Yeah, so that's the deck. Probably gonna be take a while to finish our games, because not really that many win conditions. We're basically, if we're not winning with a Gideon just smashing face, we're gonna be winning with Colonnades almost certainly, or our opponent's eventual concessions once we have completely controlled the game. All right, that's the deck. Let's take her for a spin.